Hi. So we're going to work with some vagal toning practices here and some leg shaking. And these are such supportive nervous system practices to help regulate but also tone what's called the vagus nerve, which is the wandering biggest nerve in the body that wraps around, comes through around our eyes to our mouth, affects our hearing, how we're seeing, how we're able to speak, into our heart, our lungs, down into the gut, the viscera, all the way down into the pelvis. And this nerve, when it's toned and regulated and happy, it's like it gives us this sense of lightness, brightness, connection to our experiences that enables us to feel grounded, safe, well, whole, connected, and is really, it's very much connected to human connections, so feeling safe with other people. So it really affects how we respond to tone of voice, facial expressions, really affects our vagus nerve. So the practices we're going to do are around, quite a lot of them to do with like holding the head, turning the head, eye direction. So in yoga, this is called drishti, where you direct your gaze. And then the pursing of the lips in breathing, straw breaths we're going to do, which is blowing a very fine stream of breath out of a small opening in the lips, and also making a voo sound, a sort of a humming voo with pursed lips, really all vagal toning. And then we'll do some leg shaking, so getting a spontaneous shaking happening in the legs, which really settles and releases a lot of the freeze response in the body, which comes when we feel we are disconnected, we've lost that connection to others, and there's that freeze state of hypervigilance, like we're waiting, there's a lot of energy but we can't move with it, we're like stuck. And we can have a freeze response in the body for really long periods of time, and it affects our sleep, it affects our gut, our digestion, everything is impacted. So the combination of vagal toning and then shaking the legs, shaking the body is a real reset. So this you can do before you go to bed to help you sleep, and it can also really set you up for a really good day, so really kind of calming if you know you've got a lot coming today. So let's lie down to start this. So I've got a flat blanket for my head just to raise the head off the ground a little bit. You can use a sort of a flattish cushion, you don't want anything too big, and lie on the ground. So just really simple, starting off by just feeling your head and holding your head. So something that you can do automatically, we do, is just hold your head in your hands. So interlace your hands behind your head, holding your head in your hands. And a lot of the things we do for our vagus nerve are actually quite sort of automatic, spontaneous things that come naturally, like shaking and sighing and holding our head and rubbing our face and yawning. All of these are actual vagal toning practices, and humming, whistling. So just holding your head, and then just simply turn the eyes, keep the head still, and just turn the eyes to the left. And just turn your eyes, and then take a few sighing breaths here. So you just sigh the breath out twice or 3 times, just holding your gaze to the left. One more breath there. And then close your eyes. Bring your eyes to center with them closed. And then open your eyes and turn your eyes to the right. And sighing, swallowing, whatever you need to do here. And just hold your gaze to the right for 2 or 3 slow breaths or sighing breaths. Okay, close your eyes, bring them to center. And then bring your hands onto the top of your head. So interlace them still and just rest the hands on the top of the skull. Elbows can come a little bit. And then take a breath in and blow your breath out of your lips very slowly. Make a little small opening in the lips and blow a steady stream of breath out. And it's called straw breath because you're imagining you're breathing out of a straw. One more breath there. And then bring your hands up when you finish that breath onto the forehead and rest the hands on the forehead, palm on palm, and then just slightly press the brow down so that you're sort of making there's a wrinkle there at the top of the nose, and you can close your eyes or have them open here, whatever's comfortable. So essentially the eyes, the eyelids and the muscles around the eyes are being kind of gently squished. And this can help us to take us out of this hypervigilant state. When we go into fight, flight and freeze, there can be, and the eyes can open up quite wide. Think meerkat, think this sort of alertness, and we frown, often overthinking things. And just gently pressing the forehead down relaxes the eye muscles, the muscles that hold the eyes open wide, and helps to smooth out a brow, frowny brow. And just take a few slow breaths here, breathing. Slow breath out of that little opening in the lips. You can do any one of these practices. I'm combining a whole series here so you can feel them all impacting. But you can do any one of these and they'll help you just for a few minutes. And then just rub out your forehead, your eyebrows. And then bring the heels of the hands onto the eye sockets. So you're covering your eyes now. And making the pursing of the lips, the straw breath, but with a voo sound. So you're vooing. One more breath like that. And then cover your ears. So I'll just tell you what we're doing because once you've covered your ears, you won't be able to hear me. You're going to cover your ears in a moment and you're going to just softly hum to yourself. You can do the voo, but it might be too loud for yourself. So just when you cover your ears, and we'll do maybe 3 or 4 breaths of covering the ears and humming. So when you're ready. And just when you finish that breath that you're on, move your hands off your ears and take a few breaths and just see how you're feeling now, just sensing all those practices, noticing how your body's feeling. So we'll do one more vagal toning practice and then we'll start the leg shaking. So just bring your right hand behind your head and bring your left arm out to the side. Now this time turn your head to the right elbow, the bent elbow, and just We'll stay here for a little bit longer here, so just a little while, just resting, maybe about even a minute, up to a minute, of just holding your gaze steady. And you can do any of the breaths, the breathing that we did just now. You can blow a straw breath, you can sigh, you can voo, hum. Or you can just breathe steadily, slowly. And just see if you can be still, keeping the eyes open, out to the side for a few more breaths, holding your head. And then stretch out the fingers in the left hand, give them a stretch and curl them in. And then gently turn the head back. And we'll do the same on the other side. So holding the head with the left hand, extending the right arm out to the side, turn your head to the left elbow and keep the eyes open and look up and out to the left. A slow breath out of the lips. Turn your head and then bring both arms in and bring your hands to your belly and just take a moment to feel and sense yourself. And then into a bit of leg shaking. So this is also called TRE, or biodynamic shaking in the body. And what we're doing is you're doing a few yoga positions to stimulate a spontaneous shake that naturally happens in the body. So let's start with, we'll do bridge pose first. So stand the feet on the ground. Make sure you don't have anything too big under your head here. So if you have a big cushion, move it. Flat blanket is okay. And then just lift your hips up on the inhale, coming onto the shoulders, and then exhale, lower your hips down. And then step your feet away a little bit more. So in all these first movements, what we're doing is we're activating the legs, waking up the muscles in the legs, and then lower the hips down. Step your feet away again, a little bit further from the bum, so a little bit further, and then lift the hips again. And activating the legs, triggering the legs helps to kind of bring us into almost this freeze. When we go into freeze, just take the feet further away, our legs can go very rigid. So we tighten the muscles in the legs and they can go very rigid in a straight or a contracted position. So we're kind of going into that and choosing to go into that. Move the feet further away, lift the bum, feel the legs sort of go rigid and tight. And then we're allowing the body a route out of freeze by encouraging shaking. So see if you can straighten the legs and then lift the bum so you feel the legs really go rigid and hard and tight and strong. And then lower the bum and try that again. So legs straight, lift the bum, feel the legs, which is very much this sort of freeze of like, tighten everything. Hold the breath, and you might feel your breath holding. And then exhale, let the breath go, let the bum go down. And then bring the feet only a little bit in, just standing the soles of the feet on the ground. Lift the hips up again. And then lower them down. And all mammals have this freeze response. But unlike humans, what animals do is they're not conditioned to, society hasn't conditioned them to not shake. So when they've been in a freeze, which is when if you can't run or fight, the next response in the nervous system is to freeze, to protect and just sort of stop. And the one after that is faint. So faint is when you completely collapse and play dead. Freeze is like, just let's not do anything for a moment, see if we can avoid the threat. So and keep moving my feet in. So as I'm talking, keep moving the feet in, lift the hips up and then lower them down. Now let the feet come together and knees drop apart. And then lift the hips up, and we're just going to stay here for a minute. So I've got what's called butterfly or Baddha Konasana pose. So knees are apart, feet are together, hips are up in the air. So as I was saying there, that all animals haven't been conditioned by society to not shake and not cry and not sigh and not kind of do all the things that our system has actually trained us to do. And even rocking and shaking and whistling and all of these things that actually humming help us. Society is like, no, don't do that because that's weird and you're mad. And so we end up holding on to this freeze response, and it's really bad for our system. So what this does is it gives us a route out of freeze. It helps to unfreeze us. So just a little bit longer. You might already feel that your body is sort of tremoring a bit and wobbling a bit so that you're not controlling, and that's good. And then put the bum down, and then leave the knees out and the hips down. And then you're going to very slowly and slightly bring the knees towards each other, very slightly and slowly. And as you very slightly and slowly draw the knees together, what you'll notice is somewhere along the way, your legs will start to tremor. They might just very slightly vibrate, or you might feel quite a big sort of shock wave, like a big shake happening. And you can have the feet slightly apart from each other so that you've got ease and room to let the knees come up. So I've done this quite a number of times, so my body really understands what I'm doing here and understands that this is good and it's safe and it's a way of releasing stress, releasing pressure and that tension in the body. So my legs go into quite a good old sort of shaky. Yours might shake a lot, or they might shake a little, just sort of going with it. And sigh and blow the breath, and that voo sound is really good. If you feel like your stomach is knotted or you're feeling a bit frozen in your breath, then voo is good. And keep going slowly, slowly, in little, very slow increments up, until eventually you find that your knees are sort of above the hips in a simple knees up, feet down position. And you can just let the feet stand on the ground and just allow the shaking to continue. And what you might find is the shake can go up the legs into the hips. So you can see mine, the shaking is going up into my belly. And I'm not controlling this, and my body's just doing this. I'm just relaxing and letting my body shake. And sometimes it'll go whoop, right up, and it kind of moves up the spine. And just see what's happening for you. And sometimes some people, their shake, it's more up and down, so it's more a sort of, flexing up and down movement. So you will let it do whatever it wants to do. You might feel the jaw going, the hands going, or it might be very much a very sort of little vibration that's just going on in the legs and the hips, and it's all good. And keep breathing, sighing. And just trusting that your body is learning to release in a very organic, natural, freeing way, that you're trusting this process, letting go. And if at any point you don't feel comfortable, it's uncomfortable, you'd like this to stop, just straighten your legs and the shaking will stop. If you bend your knees again, it might begin again. So just, you can play with that. Shaking it out. You can continue for this. We're going to stop in a moment. I'll stop and we'll just finish this practice in a moment. But you can stop this video, pause the video, and you can carry on for 15 minutes, 20 minutes if you want to. If it's feeling really good, you can put on some music and just shake it all out. It can feel so good. So just take as long as you need. But sometimes the shaking won't stop by itself. It won't just come to it feels like it almost, you need to kind of keep going until it stops. Sometimes it won't, just like the shaking continues. So you can decide when you feel like you've had enough. And then you just straighten one leg and then the other. And when you straighten your legs, you'll feel you should become more still again. And just sigh the breath a few times. Blow or sigh the breath out. And then we'll just finish with a primal wave. So this is this rocking on the heels movement where you toe tap. You're just gently tapping the toes. So this is like a shake, but it's more a sort of a linear up and down movement that you're controlling it by rocking on the heels. Rock, rock, rock. And you can do it very quick, little rocks or bigger ones. Let the breath go, just sighing it all out. And a few more breaths here. And then just stopping and feeling, seeing how your body feels after that. And hopefully it should feel more, well, let's say less frozen, more alive, more movement there. You can feel your body more. Just take a few breaths here, just resting, feeling the support of the ground. Another breath here. And then again, just choosing what you need after this. You might not be ready to get up, so you can just stop the practice, the video now, and just rest for longer if you have time. Otherwise, if you're ready to complete your practice here, you can come up and give yourself a moment just to settle back. Take a moment in an upright position, sensing how you're feeling. It feels good. I love these practices. They're just like make everything just feel more alive and better. So, and again, you can just use any little part of them. So that's like a complete practice, but any part of those, head turning, vooing the breath, eyes, all of that is their own practices in their own right. So you can add them into your day at any point and notice the benefits. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you again. Take care.